Hello, everyone. Amanda here from Little Lotus Yoga, and I'm so excited to have the wonderful Rebekkah here with me. I have chatted with Rebekkah in the past. We connect a lot on social media, and I have to tell you, I just love everything you share. You create such a positive feeling around birth and supporting people on their birth journey and postpartum, and especially now as we are living the COVID lifestyle, many of us, it is so lovely to know that there are people out there who are still welcoming us with open arms to support us on our pregnancy journey. So Rebekkah, thank you for being here. And could you let everyone know a little bit about you?
Yes, hi, I'm Rebekkah Traptow, and I am a full spectrum doula. So that means I support families from preconception through the first year and a half to 2 years postpartum. And I've been a doula for almost 3 years now. I serve the Red Deer, Alberta area, and I have 3 children, so you might hear them. I'm hoping you don't, but yeah, and that's my life.
I love it. And so how old are your kids?
My kids are, how old? Let me tell you. They are 7, 5, and 3.
Totally. I agree with you, and I often do that. Yeah. Go ahead.
I had an embarrassing story. I went to the registry to get my son's birth certificate, and you have to fill out all the paperwork. And I filled it all out, and I wrote in what I thought his birthday was. And she typed it all into the computer, and she goes, "Oh, this isn't right." I was like, "Pardon me?" She's like, "Nope, this is not his birthday." I was like, "Yes, it is." She's like, "Well, my computer says it's not." So I was like, I had to scroll back on Facebook to his birth announcement to actually accurately figure out what his birthday was.
True. And I love that.
And it was in fact wrong. I did actually put the wrong day down. So
one of mine, I always forget the year. I mixed she's January 16th, 2015, and I often think January 15th, 2016. And it's funny because I remember everything else, but it's, the birthdays trip me up often too.
Yeah. My birthday's January 17th. So.
Oh, no way.
Well, yeah.
Another January birthday. Yeah. And another cool fact. So I have 3 kids. My husband and I and the 3 kids, we were all born on Fridays.
Oh.
So all of our birth dates were on Fridays, which
awesome.
Which is pretty neat. Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
I'm excited to dive into the conversation around cesarean births with you today, specifically how a doula can still support people through that journey. I know I hear a lot from clients, specifically clients too, who may already know I'm having a scheduled cesarean birth, maybe by choice or for a variety of different medical reasons. And oftentimes, the feeling is, well, isn't a doula just for someone who wants a natural birth or a vaginal birth? But a doula can be so supportive in a variety of different ways. So can you share a little bit from the doula perspective of how can you support clients who may know they have a scheduled cesarean birth? How do you support them before the cesarean, during, and after? What might that look like?
Yes, so I love that. It's almost one of my favorite things to talk about because birth, regardless of the kind of birth that you have, you deserve support. So whether that's a scheduled cesarean or precipitous labor, however your birth goes down, you deserve support, and there are tons and tons of things that a doula can do to support you at every stage. So if you're going in for a scheduled cesarean or just sometimes it happens where your plan is to deliver vaginally or have a pelvic birth, and mid-pregnancy something changes and you then require a cesarean birth. Don't let your doula go. We can still support you. So prenatally, we do a lot of work. Personally, I shouldn't speak for all doulas, but when I support somebody having a cesarean birth, I focus a lot on the education. I want them to know, first of all, what's happening, what the procedure is like, what's actually going to happen to your body. How is this going to go down? I find that people take a lot of comfort from that, just knowing, because with a cesarean birth, generally there are a lot of unknowns and it can be a surprise.
Well,
and that
generally we only know what we see on Grey's Anatomy, right? Which isn't always the true depiction of like what a cesarean birth can actually look like. And not all cesarean births are an emergency.
No, exactly. There's 3 types of cesarean birth. Planned, this is the plan from the start. Planned, it's fine. There's emergency sections and there's a crash section. An emergency cesarean, which is the one most of the time, this is what a cesarean, if you've gone into labor or you've had something change and you need to have a cesarean, it's called an emergency cesarean. And it means we're going to have a cesarean. It could be within 1 hour, it could be within 4 hours, but your well-being and health are in danger. However, we're not panicking. Okay. A crash section is rare. And those are the situations where mom and baby's life are in immediate danger and we need to get this baby out now. Those situations are pretty rare, but that's called a crash section. So even the terminology is so scary. But it's just stuff like that. That's the kind of thing that I would explain prenatally. Talking through your fears and talking through your thoughts about it, like whether that's I really didn't want a cesarean and now this is the birth plan, or I'm really scared, I don't want to have major surgery, this is horrible, or maybe you're really excited because it means you have an end date to your pregnancy. Maybe your pregnancy is really difficult. There's a lot of things that a doula can help you work through emotionally. We do this for everybody, whether at any stage that we're supporting them at, but the emotional support, I think, having somebody that you can talk to about it who's educated, who's not just gonna, pile you full of scary stories or misinformation, or, you can vent your feelings, you can tell me about it, and I'm going to hold space. And if you ask for advice or if you have questions, I can answer them. And if you don't, that's okay. I can just sit and listen. So then during a cesarean, it depends on your hospital. It's kind of unfortunate, but generally, I know here it's only one support person in the OR, and with the pandemic right now, most places are just one support person anyway. So if you have chosen to have your doula with you as your one support person now, they'll likely be able to, I shouldn't say that, but there is a chance that they will allow you to go into the OR with your birthing, with your doula. But otherwise, your doula might have to just wait for you and your partner, or if you have one, outside the OR, in which case we'll send you off. We're right here, we're waiting. We'll often wait at the hospital, pre-COVID anyways, and we'll sit there on our phones and wait. We're staring at our phone waiting for your partner or you to text us that you're in recovery. We're kind of like the expecting parents too, that way. We love to hang out in it's called the atrium at our hospital, and I love when I'm waiting on a cesarean, I wait in the atrium, and there's all the parents that come through who are also waiting for someone to give birth. And we have lots of really good conversations. So it's a good time. Yeah. So then most of the support, so that's pretty hands-off support. That's more I'm just waiting for you, and I'm here. If you don't need me to stay at the hospital, that's okay. I might go home. And that's
Which
fine.
I'm assuming too can be really helpful for if they have a spouse or a partner with them. to, you know, have someone to kind of sound back and forth with. I think a lot of times we assume a doula is strictly only for the birthing person, but a doula supports the entire birthing family.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We doula support partners is actually the way I think of it in my practice. I want to work myself out of a job in a sense. I want your partner to be so good at supporting you that I almost don't need to do anything. I want your partner to feel active and involved and loved and cared for in the birthing space, just as much as you do. I'm not going to replace them. I don't want to replace them. They know intimate details about you that I don't, and that I don't necessarily need to know. And so their connection with you is very conducive to the birthing process itself. So it makes sense for me to support your partner. And sometimes, so in cesarean situations, sometimes they happen pretty quickly, or there's a lot of information being thrown out really quickly by doctors, by nurses. This is just the way it goes. It's just the process. But a doula is a good, what is it called? I don't want to say liaison. That's not what I mean, but
like a sounding board of like someone to ask your questions to, and like put them out into the universe with, or to get, like, you know, what's the medical procedure for this? What did they mean when they said that?
Yeah, like a filter. Like the doctor comes in, says what they say in their doctory, whatever. And doctors are great. I love doctors, and there are some fabulous ones here. Nurses as well, fabulous doctors and nurses here. But sometimes, especially in the heat of a situation where we're changing our plan, and this is emotional for us, maybe we don't understand. Sometimes it's hard to understand what they're actually saying and to feel informed. Right? They can give you the information, but unless you've registered it and digested it, it might not sit with you. And then you can't really give informed consent if you don't feel informed. So a lot of what I do in those situations is I just make sure I'll repeat myself a lot, or I'll repeat after the doctor and just put it in more layman's terms. We're going to do this because baby's heart rate is this, that, and the other. And be like, yeah, so everything's all right. Baby and you, we're doing fine. Baby's heart rate isn't coming up the way we want to see it after your contraction. So we're concerned because babies' hearts are so small and they tolerate until they don't anymore. So how do you feel about that? And just kind of talking people through that kind of situation, keeping the vibe calm. Because during an emergency cesarean, for example, so you've labored for a little while and something has changed and we need to do a cesarean, or we're discussing a cesarean, things start to happen really fast, procedure-wise. So doctors and nurses, I've seen it a couple times where it's just a crazy switch where everything goes from chill, the lights are off, we're not liking this so much. And then all of a sudden, doctor comes in and is like, yeah, I think we should move to a cesarean. Lights go on. Nurses start piling papers over here. And, the blood tech guy's coming in and the doctor's in there's like suddenly 40 other people in the room. And that people are talking at you really, really fast. That sounds really scary. It doesn't always happen.
And you're tired. Normally at this point, you're tired. You've probably been laboring for a long time. You're hungry.
And you're still contracting. Yeah. People forget, just because you say the word cesarean doesn't mean that you're not now still in labor. You are still going through contractions, and you're probably not able to process because labor happens in the rest and digest state of your brain. It's not, so you've had babies. Do you remember any of the whole labor process? You remember snippets.
I remember transition. I remember getting mad of, what do you mean? There's no more balls. Go find me a ball to sit on. I remember those moments, but I don't remember, like, time goes slow, but so fast at the same time.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yes. And after the birth, I'll do my postpartum follow-up like the next day or two. And I'll be like, do you remember when this happened? They'll be like, no. I don't remember anything. It happened so fast, but it was, and I'm like, and I'm there exhausted from having been there for like 40 hours.
I was a tapper. In one of my births, I tapped during contractions and would get like faster and harder. And afterwards, I remember my doula saying, yeah, I knew exactly where your contractions were at because your tapping would get faster and louder. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And that's what she said. She's like, you tap the side of the bathtub every contraction. And I'm like, I do not remember that at all.
That's amazing. Yeah. So your brain isn't processing like 80% of what's going on around you. It's focused on delivering, birthing your baby. So when plans change and you need to make decisions, you're not in the decision-making part of your brain. So you can hear somebody say, Amanda, we're discussing, we would like to discuss a cesarean with you. These are the reasons. You can hear it. And even between a contraction, you'll hear it and you'll go, yeah, okay. But actually processing it's more difficult. So having somebody there who understands, who's a neutral party, right? So I'm there. I don't work for the hospital. I work for you. So that makes me not neutral. That makes me for you. Neutral.
But you're not pushing your opinions on the birthing person. It's a strictly neutral. Like, here's what was said. Do you understand your options? Do you have questions that you want to reflect on to connect back to your health care providers with?
Yes. And I'm also not your partner. So I'm not emotionally attached. I am. I love you. But I'm not seeing a partner go through labor. The labor process is it's emotional, and seeing your partner in pain, it does something to your brain. So it can make it very difficult to make decisions as well. So I love you, and I'm not your partner. So I can help make those decisions. I can keep your partner chill and calm and informed as well. So there isn't any fear bias or pain bias, right? If that makes any sense. Sometimes I make it term.
So why would it, in your experience, people who've had a cesarean birth, what does that recovery period look like? And how could a doula play a role in the recovery period at the hospital? And then I guess it's kind of a two-part question of the postpartum doula role once you go home. Because I think a lot of people aren't prepared for, whether it's a scheduled cesarean or the journeys into a cesarean. After baby, we're not necessarily prepared for how am I going to pick baby up while I recover?
Yes.
How am I going to feed baby in the middle of the night? Because the nurses aren't sitting there 24/7 in your room just handing you your baby back and forth.
Yes, absolutely. So immediate postpartum in the hospital right now with COVID, doulas are not allowed in the postpartum area. That's also something that we're discussing with AHS. However,
non-COVID, non-COVID scenario.
When this whole nonsense, when this is over, so we'll meet you in postpartum, not recovery, because that's a sterile field. Doulas aren't allowed back there. I know of doulas who have gone back there, but it doesn't irrelevant as in terms of this conversation. We will come into postpartum and we'll support you with your breastfeeding if that's what you're deciding to do. We'll make sure that all your stuff is organized so that you're not looking for your things if you need stuff. Make sure sometimes we bring food because it's funny, partners forget to eat often. They just don't do it. And then it's not uncommon to have a partner passing out in postpartum because he just stood through a whole labor and then cesarean. And now he's so excited to have his baby or their baby that they've forgotten to eat for a whole 36 hours. So we'll bring food, something yummy for you. And we kind of do a mini debrief. I don't particularly like to hang out too long in postpartum because it's a really important part of bonding, and often we're tired. 99% of the time. I don't know anyone who's got into postpartum like, yeah, I could run a marathon. This is great, especially after a cesarean. So I will do my best. I'll make sure that if you have any immediate questions or concerns that you want to talk about, I will discuss those with you. I will help you with feeding if you're struggling with breastfeeding or not struggling. If it's going great, I'll maybe take a peek at your latch just to make sure, or support you with how to hold the bottle, depending on how new a parent you are. I'll give you some tips for comforting baby if baby's crying. Just really basic stuff. I don't want to overwhelm you in that immediate postpartum space. We'll do a little bit of debrief. How was your experience? How are you feeling now? And I'll basically set myself up for our postpartum follow-up. And that's where kind of a more major debrief happens. And in terms of emotional support anyways, we'll do a major debrief. And then I will again check on breastfeeding or chest feeding or bottle feeding. You can, you've now spent a couple days with your baby, so you can tell me how things are going. And in terms of feeding, I can give you support tips on, really whatever it is, whatever you say that you need, or whatever questions you have, I will answer them. And then physically, I'll say this a lot, and I have to say it because there's some confusion. A postpartum doula isn't a maid, or a babysitter. So while we can help with other children and we can help with some light housework and we're not there to clean your bathroom, do a deep clean of anything and mop the floor and babysit while you and your partner go for that's not what we do.
So I'm curious. So when I hear light housekeeping, and I know, just to preface this for everyone listening, this is definitely different doula to doula, region to region. But when I hear light housekeeping, what I hear is well, if the counter has my glasses on it because I've been thirsty and eating, you'll put that in the dishwasher. Or if I need a drink while I'm feeding baby and I need some help getting my area set up, you'll do that. But it's not, I think sometimes people think I'm going to hire a postpartum doula, and while I sit here with my baby, they're going to clean the house and they're going to do all the things and manage my kids and.
Yeah. So no, yeah, that's exactly it. So personally, my doula style, I say light housekeeping. I will do a little bit beyond light housekeeping because in my experience, first of all, a clean house makes my mind calm. And when I had my newborn babies, that's all I wanted was a clean kitchen. I just wanted it, just not deep cleaned, but I'll come and I will cook a meal for you, depending on the time of day it's at, or I'll do some meal prep with you, make sure it gets all put away in the Tupperwares and in the fridge and whatever. I will start, empty the dishwasher. I will wipe down the counters with the cleaner or the Norwex or whatever it is that you use. I will put the dishes away. I will sweep the floor. I will make sure that your home is still a home and it's still clean. Yes, I want you sitting down with your baby. Yes, I want that. I want you. Your job is to eat food, drink water, feed your baby, and recover physically. The physical recovery is the more tricky part with a cesarean birth. So if everything went well and you're feeling well, first tip, take your medication. Do not be I hate the term don't be a hero. I hate that so much. It hurts my brain. But when it comes to pain meds after you've had a cesarean birth, do not think, oh, it's totally fine. I'll just tough it out. I don't want the medication, because the pain meds are going to help you be able to recover better. If you can't sleep because you're in pain, or you physically can't just rest, your muscles are always tight, that's going to impede your body's ability to heal anyway. So it'll take a little bit longer.
And to be able to move a little bit. I hear often people say oh, I didn't take pain medication, but I couldn't get up and out of bed. And I'm like, okay, well, if you can't get up and out of bed, that's your first step to starting to be able to slowly recover. And that movement is important, because the lack of movement is going to impact your digestion. And you don't want to have to push a constipated bowel movement out of you after a cesarean birth. There's just so many factors that play into it.
Yeah. Yeah, so take your medication. There's a reason that at the hospital, their goal for you almost immediately after you have a cesarean is to get it up and moving. So yes, rest, absolutely, but take your medication so that you can, do all the things that are going to contribute to a speedier recovery. I can help. Yeah, I can help with belly binding as well. Not the traditional belly binding, but you can get belly band. Like there's all kinds of belly bands. And some doulas do support traditional belly binding. It really depends on the doula. But those belly binding has some really great healing properties, all kinds of things that I don't know actually too much about it, so I won't talk about it too much. But if you're interested in that for your postpartum, it's extra support for your pelvic floor essentially, and for those muscles who have just done an amazing job. And after cesarean, you've cut into your pelvic floor, you've had major abdominal surgery, so a little extra support is always a good thing. Yeah. So, I will bring you food. I will make sure that your nursing station is set up. I will do some tidying. Like it's kind of a case by case, really. Whatever it is that you say you need first, and then as a doula, it's my job to anticipate what you might need. So I come into the home and I notice that, the floor hasn't been swept in a really long time. I don't know. It's just an example. I'm going to do those things, right? If I notice that your laundry, your clean laundry is just on the couch and it's just waiting to be folded, and your partner is doing whatever, or maybe you don't have a partner, I'll sit and I'll chat with you and I'll fold your laundry. And if I'm feeling sassy, I might ask you if I can put it away. Putting it away is the hard part. So
it's like, where does it go? Whose is this?
Yeah.
Who does it belong to?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, and again, it's going to greatly vary region to region, but just general overview. I think sometimes people think they don't have options in a cesarean birth. They hear cesarean and they think all options are totally gone. What are some things that birthing people may wish to discuss with their healthcare providers when it comes to options when having a cesarean birth?
Mm-hmm. So, it depends. We talk about brain, but that's the more informational side. You're asking more about like the procedure, or about like?
Yeah, like can they hold their baby after? Can they have skin to skin?
Yes.
Can they watch?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so all of those things you can ask. Some places use a clear screen, or they will lower the screen for you to be able to see and participate, feel connected to the birth. You can ask your provider what their options are in terms of that. With my clients, I try to be careful because I know all of these things exist. I know, but unfortunately, not a lot. Like some hospitals, they're not equipped to do these things. So I remember my very first cesarean birth that I attended was an emergency cesarean. Mom ended up having, like, it was incredible. She had a creta that was missed. Placenta creta is when the placenta grows into your tissue. Anyways, your uterine tissue. And anyways, her baby, she was in labor for a long time. Baby's heart wasn't tolerating anymore, so she had a cesarean. And when we were discussing it, I was asking, so what are our options here? Can she have, I asked if she could have a gentle cesarean. I asked the doctor, have you ever heard of a gentle cesarean? And if you've been on YouTube, or if you've seen the videos of a gentle cesarean, it's so cool. The doctor looked straight at my face and said, I've never heard of that before. No. And I was like, okay, I was just asking for information. I felt awful, but I know it exists. So things like gentle cesarean, clear screen, lowering the screen, it depends on your provider. It depends on the hospital, but definitely always ask the question. You should be able to hold your baby afterwards. When baby is out, they will typically, they show you baby, it's a boy, it's a girl, it's adorable. And then they'll take the baby and go do their tests first. Generally with a pelvic birth, they'll bring baby to your chest, and they do all of their tests afterwards. During a cesarean, they will do them after, or like directly after baby is out. So they'll do that. They'll get baby cleaned up, wrap baby up in the swaddle, and then bring baby to your head as they are closing. This whole cesarean birth process is only, I think it's like 30 to 45 minutes, the actual surgery. So you should still be able to do your skin to skin in recovery. You might need support lifting baby. Obviously, you're going to need support. You're going to be paralyzed from the chest down to lift baby and to hold on to baby. But as long as you're awake and lucid, that should be an option as well to do skin to skin. Your partner can do skin to skin. I've seen partners do skin to skin in the OR, depending on, the hospital and the providers that are there. Yeah, you can have, so with a cesarean, they'll, your arms, I talk with my hands a lot, you haven't noticed. They have them strapped down in the event that you lose consciousness or anything. They don't want you falling off the table, so they've got your arms strapped down. You can ask to have your arms free. For some folks, having their arms strapped down is really triggering. That sounds horrible to me, so you can ask for them not to do that. And they should be all right with that. You can ask for no music, depending, because in the OR they play music. You can ask for only no shop talk. Some providers are really bad for, they'll be doing your cesarean and they're talking about the soccer game really loud that was on last night. And you're like, excuse me, I'm just over here having my
birth.
Yeah.
Let me have my moment.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Please focus on, can we talk about my day today? Because I think that's one of the most common things I hear from my clients who have cesareans is that, they feel like they lost their birth. Like the minute they were in the OR, it was no longer their birth. And now it's a medical procedure that, regardless of why it needed to happen, or how, a lot of folks will be like, oh, but you did the best thing for your baby. And that's good. That's true. You made the right decision, yada, yada. It still feels like a loss. And so here I know our nurses are super, super at the emotional support. They're awesome. They're lighthearted. They, there's jokes and they're amazing. They're really great support providers. And sometimes that's not the mood. Sometimes that's really not what I want to be hearing right now. I just want to, can I have a moment with my partner, please? Partners aren't allowed to come in until I believe it's until you're here, and at least it's until you're open. So they come into the OR with you, they have to gown up, but then you go to the OR, so you have to have your spinal by yourself. I always encourage my clients, ask, can my partner be there for my spinal? Generally, they say no. Always ask, because
but it doesn't hurt to ask.
Yes, exactly. Always, because you might get a provider that's like, yes, I will. Yes, we'll allow that for you. Or yeah, I think it's a sterile field thing. It never really made a lot of sense to me. I'm like, but the nurse can be in there, but the partner can't because he's all gowned up too. The nurse doesn't scrub in. Anyways, totally. Never mind.
Did I see somewhere you have templates for birth plans that people can walk through? Do you have birth templates?
Birth plan template as a doula? Oh yeah, I have two of them. One of them, I'm gonna say I have one of them that would apply here. And it's a complete birth preferences plan. It does cover pelvic birth, vaginal birth, but it also, not a lot of birth plans actually have a section for cesareans. So I do have one of those that I like to give my clients. I like to discuss it prenatally, even if we are not even if the plan
we don't know. I mean, and we can plan as much as we want, but the journey unfolds however the journey unfolds.
Yes, and the power of a birth plan isn't even that it's a plan. It's more the education. It's more the discussing your options and knowing what they are and deciding what options you're okay with and what options you're not okay with. And actually getting educated on the options that you're not okay with. So that in the event like for me, when I was going into my births, I was like, under no circumstances are you to give me a cesarean. I don't care. Don't give me obviously. And I've never seen a parent when faced with the decision, listen, this is an emergency. You need a cesarean. I've never seen a parent say, no, never mind. I'm leaving. I've never seen it. Parents always make the right decision for their children. Period. Point. So, but if I didn't know what a cesarean was, how it was done, what the procedure was like, I would be terrified, even if it was the right decision. So I'm not saying you have to like read all the cesarean books and get, familiar with the procedure in terms of like the actual surgery and the intricacies of it. But it's always good to have a general knowledge of things, so that when faced with that decision, you can make the appropriate
to know all of your options that are available, and that you have time to think about what that might look like for you before you're presented in that moment of, oh, now I have to make this choice, or now my journey's traveling this way and I don't know anything that's going to happen when I take that road. So I think to be able to have that knowledge beforehand, to be able to have general understanding of what a cesarean is and how it works and the options we might still have, and feeling empowered still to ask questions. And I think having a doula like you on our support team to be able to support us prenatally, during the birth, postpartum, it's like having your best friend, your mom you never fight with, but who also truly understands all of the medical side of things that are happening on your team, who's there for you and your partner, which I think is so amazing.
Yes, I call myself a birth bestie. I'm your birth best friend, and you can call me at 2 a.m. Girl, give me the tea. What's going on? Like that's totally me. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So where can people find more information about you, whether they're in Alberta or, I'm not in Alberta, but I love following you online. I feel like you always have a lot of great information that you're sharing and things you're putting out into the world.
So I'm at Rebekkah Traptow on Instagram, and my doula business on Facebook is Love First Maternal Support. Full disclosure, I haven't been on there in a while on Facebook. I kind of hang out on Instagram. But yeah, I actually do offer virtual support. So wherever you are in the country, I'm able to support virtually. Then again, I'm in Alberta, and Alberta, every province is different. So you find a doula that knows your area, I think is a good thing to say there. And my website is lovefirstmaternalsupport.com, but it's just my doula business website.
I love it. Thank you so much for chatting with us today, Rebekkah.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. It was fun.